sort of looks like difference, for lack of a better word, to put on it right now. I was different than everybody else. And here's possible ways people can be different and how that affects scoring. I think you're onto something. I'd be really interested to see how that pans out across a larger data set. But I think that could be something that you could be the difference guy. I mean, that would be great. You watch these things and you see whether they talk about how they were the same or different than everybody else. One of the things I think you may find is that everybody feels kind of different. Because nobody's exactly the same, so you might have to kind of take the idea of difference and make it sort of elastic and think about what it looks like. But I think you're onto something. I think it's really a good catch. You nailed it. There's like a massive amount of research out there about the difference between primary grades, elementary grades, and everything else. And that, my guess is you're right, that theme will hold up for people who talk about it. And again, much like the difference idea, much like the relevance and the applied idea, it's going to have some elasticity to it. It's going to have some more ways to describe it and get those stories. But you have a really interesting point. And is the point, do we do a better job at teaching kids in elementary school? Is there something about the way that is set up that's somehow inherently more engaging, more applied, more interesting? Or do we just sort of wear you guys out? You know, think about your first day of kindergarten. When you went to kindergarten, how many of you were kind of excited to go to school? And when you woke up this morning, you were equally excited because you knew you were going to do this today, right?
Yeah, we all had OGTs. So
right. You woke up this morning and said, I'm going to score really well on a test. Not so much. Really not so much. So the point is it a novelty thing? Or is it something about actually what goes on in those classrooms? And that's a really, you could be that person. You could be the girl who looks for that in these videos if you want. So there's a way in which we're going to start being able to assign sort of different themes to people that we can start looking for. Really relevant, really important. But this issue of, and everybody wants to go to kindergarten because it's exciting and they get to be a big kid and they get to carry a lunchbox or whatever. And then it just becomes more and more mundane. You guys are all sophomores, right? How many of you have started to drive? Hey, pretty cool the first time you got to be in the car by yourself, right? Trust me, I don't wake up in the morning and I get to drive today.
Wait, by myself?
No, I haven't quite done that yet. But the point is, though, that there's a certain amount of stuff that we do it enough, it just becomes commonplace. Is school one of those things? I don't know. You guys get a break, because I heard the bell, right?
Well, they could.
They could?
Yeah.
Take a stretch. You were sitting a long time this morning. Come back, we're going to watch one more video.
Yeah.
But they needed some of that other stuff. And remember the
Your hand is so fast.
Which cast?
He's last.
Okay, this is not a pop quiz, folks.
Let's focus, guys. Let's focus.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. And there we go. So part of the deal with all of this problem is that these are all of Mr. Miller's friends. So we have to get a little slightly larger pool of people. Do we have any women in this group?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do this guy and then let's do a woman, okay?
All right.
So, listening for similarity, listening for difference, listening for the themes that we saw in the first two, and seeing if they carried a third one. And we want to see whether this introduces, if this new, who is this?
This is Sam.
See if Sam introduces anything new or different. It's the same. What's different? It's the same thing you were playing on Sesame Street. So let's go.
People like,
My name is Sam Maluccio.
Jasmine
I
Williams, come on
graduated
down.
Mention High School in 1996.
Okay.
all right, here we go.
Here's go.
My name is Sam Maluccio. I graduated Mention High School in 1996 in Metro, Ohio. As far as high school, it took me a little bit to really even think about what the value was. I didn't see very much value, to be honest. I think I gained from the social aspect of it, just seeing how even like as I got older, how it still was high school just a few years later, kind of basically. Just seeing how people related to each other, the interpersonal relationships, how you build them, how you develop them, and what they can do for you in life. I think that's the biggest education I got. The education itself was really meaningless, to be honest. I didn't really feel or see any real value. I don't think I remember hardly anything that I did learn. The ways of education seemed to be primarily focused on being able to pass a test, so you're just memorizing information, regurgitating it, and moving on. So there was no real learning. There was no reason why we should know anything. It was just learn this, and it's like based on whose idea of what education is. I'm learning something, or having to spend 45 minutes per period, spending, learning whatever. So I wish very much things could have been different. I think that kids, and I love learning. I absolutely love learning. I've read over 1,000 books since high school. You know what I mean? I love learning, but it's just my experience as far as learning goes was really subpar as far as high school goes.
Okay. What's the same?
They talked a lot about the social aspect.
Social aspects are huge. Relevance, I heard. What else? And I can't see who you are, so just over there. And so here's the question. I think you're going to hear that a lot. So the question is, did he learn more after high school because, in fact, high school set him up for that learning? Does he know what he doesn't know? Or is, in fact, was it a total wasteland, he really didn't learn anything, and the real education starts after you get a diploma? And that's kind of an interesting question, and I don't know the answer to it, but I think it's a good point to start playing with. My son's 25, and I follow him on Twitter. It's one of the only ways I know what he's doing. And he tweeted, just to pull up for you, honest to goodness, he tweeted, "I finally used the quadratic equation." I don't know what he did, but at 25 he finally found purpose for this thing he learned in math. So I keep coming back to that, and he doesn't know I'm involved in this project yet either, which is kind of funny. But that idea of, was high school an entire wasteland, or if only for the social, or was there a foundation laid that allowed him to read those 1,000 books he's read since high school? He didn't learn to read in school. Those 1,000 books would not have been attainable to him. So there is some transfer, some crossover, or some value added or something. So you raise a really interesting, important point. Play with that. You can be that girl. Somebody else. What did this one leave out? Because part of the other thing about thinking about data is it's not only what's there, but what's not there. So what wasn't in this video that was in the other videos? Yeah, didn't say that. No connection. Which means that you just didn't get something. Maybe because they forgot. You're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get people who are going to forget to tell you whole bunches of things, and you're just going to have to leave the cell blank. Nothing goes in that box. But that's interesting, because we have no idea of what it is that he's doing now. And that may or may not have relevance to how he thinks about his school. So sometimes what's not there is as important as what's in there. Because you allow context. You don't know what he does now, you can't put his statements into context. What else?
I don't think that he stated what role he played, whether he was an athlete, jock, or nerd.
he talks about high